You know that feeling, right? Like you're climbing some endless mountain, and you're not even sure there's a summit. It's the classic story of struggle and ambition. But what if there's another way to look at it? A deeply cynical, maybe even brutally honest philosophy that sees the whole climb as a noble but totally pointless show. Well, that viewpoint has a powerful argument, a kind of sermon of the couch. And that's exactly what we're going to deconstruct today.
And that brings us right to the heart of it, the core question this philosophy throws at you. Why? Why choose the struggle? What's the logic that keeps you climbing that mountain when, let's be honest, there's a much easier, much more comfortable path just waiting for you? It's a question designed to challenge everything you think you know about effort and success.
Now, according to this worldview, you're not just picking between two different hiking trails. No, this is way bigger. It's a clash between two fundamental states of being, the state of struggle versus the state of surrender. This isn't about where you're going, it's about what you fundamentally are. Okay, let's get into it.
So on one side, you've got the mountain. This philosophy calls it a terrible freedom. Think of it as the harsh, cold, brutal truth of existence. It demands everything from you, your sweat, your will, your sanity, and guess what? It promises absolutely nothing in return. And on the other side, the couch. It's the comforting lie. It's the easy, warm falsehood that asks for nothing, but offers you everything you secretly crave. Okay, let's really dig into the argument for the couch, because the people who believe this don't see it as giving up. Not at all. They see it as achieving a kind of profound, logical peace. The whole idea is to reframe surrender not as an act of weakness, but as an act of supreme practical wisdom. And this is how they break down its almost magnetic appeal. It's a masterclass in practical philosophy. First, you get security, a final warm place where no one can judge you and reality can't get to you. Second, you get ease. It's like a gentle anesthetic for what it calls the pointless struggle of life. And finally, safety, the simple, ironclad guarantee that you will never have to face the cold of that mountain ever again. So here's the bottom line. Choosing comfort isn't failing. It's making a quiet, sensible bargain. It's a conscious, logical trade. You aren't losing. You're simply trading the terrifying weight of an uncertain freedom for the comforting certainty of safety. From this point of view, it is the most rational choice you could possibly make. But for that argument to really land, this philosophy has to do something else. It has to completely tear down the so-called virtues of the struggle. It has to convince you that this freedom you're chasing isn't a gift. It's a terrifying, thankless burden. And here are the terms and conditions of your contract with the mountain. It offers zero certainty. It gives you no external validation. Trust me, the universe isn't going to throw you a parade if you reach the top. It demands constant, soul-crushing effort. And it offers absolutely no guarantee that any of it will pay off. So from this perspective, the climber isn't free at all. They're just a slave to their own need to struggle. So where does all this doubt come from? Well, there's a philosophical idea for it. It's called the spirit of negation. You can think of it as the ultimate force of cynicism, the thing that questions every big dream. It's that nagging, intelligent little voice in the back of your head that whispers, "Come on, is it really worth it?" right when things get tough. But here, right here, is the most brilliant, the most ingenious part of this whole cynical argument. The claim is that the greatest trick ever played was the invention of a moral system specifically designed to justify giving up. A system that makes surrender feel not just easy, but actually righteous. And that system has a name: slave morality. Now, it's a big idea, but a simple way to think about it is like a psychological operating system. And its main function? To protect the powerless. But it doesn't do it by making them stronger. No. It does it by bringing down the strong, by redefining strength itself as something bad. And where did this moral code come from? Well, according to this philosophy, it wasn't born from some noble quest for good. It's a psychological weapon, forged in the dark, in the deep-seated fear and resentment that the weak have for the strong. It's the byproduct of envying a strength you feel you'll never have. And here's exactly how it works. It's a total inversion of values. You take pride, the very engine of the climber, and you relabel it as a dangerous evil. Ambition? Oh, that's just a hollow, power-hungry pursuit. And that will to overcome, to transcend? That's just a pathetic display of insecurity. See the trick? By making strength a sin, weakness becomes a virtue. And suddenly, the couch is the moral high ground. So all of this builds to one final ultimate test. It sets up a kind of cosmic wager, a grand bet. And it's designed not just to suggest, but to prove that deep down,
Our weakness is a universal, unbreakable law of nature. This wager is basically a clinical experiment. The hypothesis is brutally simple. Because all of us are fundamentally frail, any attempt to rise above it is doomed to fail. The whole point is to validate this cynical worldview by showing that everyone, and I mean everyone, eventually chooses the couch.
And the prediction of this wager, it's as stark as it gets. It says that even the greatest climber, a being with unimaginable strength and will, even a god, will eventually collapse under the pressure. That they will turn their back on the cold, hard truth of the mountain and come begging for the sweet, thoughtless oblivion that only the couch can offer.
So, in this system, what's the final judgment for the climber who, as predicted, eventually falls? A powerful slave. And that's the tragic irony it points to. The climber was never really free in the first place. They were just a slave to a different master, their own ambition, chained to the cold rock of their own struggle.
And so, this whole thought experiment brings it all back home, to a question we have to ask ourselves. The logic of the couch? You gotta admit, it's seductive. Its argument is powerful. So it makes you wonder, when your own climb gets cold, when the wind starts to bite, which way are you going to turn?